Excellent. So let's get started on all fours. We'll do an exercise called tiger drinking. So there's two versions of this, but let's do the one first with the fingers facing each other, elbows out to the side, and you can go fairly wide on your mats, knees under hips, soft elbows to start, spread your hands if you haven't already. And as we inhale, just dip your chest down to the floor, so it's almost like a little tricep dip, but the elbows are sticking out to the side actually, so it's not a normal tricep dip. Chest down and tailbone up, and then exhale, press the palms into the mat, press your knees and shins into the floor, and round your back as you exhale. So let's do 4 of those. So inhale, we dip down, chest leading the way, eyes looking up a little bit to the eyebrows. Exhale, curl using your abdominals to help you flex your spine. Inhale, dip down, feeling the spreading across the chest and your shoulder blades coming in a bit in the back, and then spreading the shoulder blades as you exhale. So let's do that 2 more times. Inhale to dip, exhale to curl, and last one, inhale to dip, and exhale to curl. Now keep the curl position, but just turn your palms the normal way now. So hands straight ahead, and then flatten your spine coming back to a more neutral-ish position. And then just take one hand, move my cushions out of the way, and peel it and pick it up and put it one hand print ahead of the other one, and then do the same with the second hand. So your hands a little bit ahead of the shoulders, but your knees are still under the hip sockets. Now this is another version of tiger drinking, so sometimes called camel drinking. So think of that your arms are like long legs, and just let your elbows reach to the floor, looking ahead. So now we are definitely more in the tricep, but we're not quite touching the floor with the elbows. And then you straighten the arms, keeping your chest in the same spot. Chest, meaning we're not shifting back and forth. We're just keeping the hips even. So inhale, you dip. It's like a horse or a camel bending its long legs, and then straighten. We're looking across, a little bit across beyond the end of our mat. Inhale to dip. Exhale, it's almost like we're pulling on the mat, flattening the upper back. So we're nice and not arched, but definitely flatten through the upper spine. So let's do 2 more. Really try to feel your triceps from your elbows to your shoulders. Last one. When you're all done with that, as you straighten your legs, or your arms in this case, camel legs, reach one arm, let's say the right hand even as far as it will naturally want to go there, and then the second hand will also join in, reaching, and then just pull the hips backwards. You're getting a nice stretch from your armpits, your fingers from the palms right down to your armpits and hips, and just take a few breaths there. So it's not exactly puppy pose, but we're more focusing on our lats under the arms. And we're not arched, we're just a little bit rounded. Take a couple more breaths there. In and out. And then let's slide the hands back onto all fours. We'll do one more thing in this position. So we're going to take the right hand, we're going to reach it just beside our right hip, and then reach it even higher, as high as you can, and turn to look over your right shoulder. So it's like you're reaching your pinky finger high to the sky and then lower down. Do 4 more on that side. So you turn, squeeze the back of your arm up and down. You could exhale for the turn. Arm goes higher than your ribs. Inhale down. Exhale. Your left hand can press a little bit down to help you rotate. But at the end of the day, it's really your exhale, your abdominals that help you twist. Last one. And replace the right hand. Other side, so the left hand comes up, skimming this hip as it goes up beyond your hip, rotate, and then bring it down to the face the floor. So exhale for the turn, inhale to face the front. So try 3 more of those. I just want to make sure everything is okay out there. And 2, and 1. Twist even further. If there's any more rotation possible, hips stay still. And release. Let's do 1 more of those arm stretches. So just take one hand as far as it wants to go forward. Second hand joins in. Sit back in the hips. You're a little bit tucked under a little bit, and just pull the hips away from the hands. The hands press into the mat a little bit. Neck is long. 1 more breath. And then we're going to come up to standing. If you're okay with this, tuck your toes. You're going to pull your hands closer to your knees, and you're just going to rock back into sort of a squat-like position. If you'd rather not do that, that's totally fine. You can come up to standing. Or just what I would do instead of that is maybe a half squat. Okay, so from the squat-ish position, we're going to stand up. So you can reach out. And we're just going to exhale, press through the ground with your feet and come on up. And then we'll do 8 regular squats from the top down. So you can keep your feet as they are. Keep it fairly narrow today. Reach your thumbs out. Let your knees bend first today, and then send your hips back. And we're just going to sit as low as we're comfortable, without feeling any strain in the knees, but definitely challenging our front legs and back legs too. And then squeeze your arms back, standing tall. So inhale, we sit, arms go forward. Exhale, press the arms back. May as well use the arm muscles as you press back. Forward, squeeze the arms back. Inhale, we look out across. Make sure the ribs don't arch. Some people may have to tuck their hips under a little bit if we tend to overarch the back. Some of us may have to do the opposite, sort of stick the hips up in the air a bit as we go backwards, depending on our natural position or posture. So we'll do one more. Good, and then we'll come up, face the front. And now you can keep your feet hip distance apart, but just let your hips sort of push out to your left and let your right arm just dangle to the right. And then switch. Push out, dangle, and switch. We'll just do 4 more of those. 3, 2, and then we'll make it a little bigger. So what you're gonna do is take the arm that's dangling over your ear as your hips reach out, and we'll do 4 more like that, and reach. So it goes right over the ear, keep the legs straight, a couple more. Great, and then we can come back to center. Okay, so what we'll do, grab your band. I want to do a little bit of outer hip work. So the first one we'll do is a monster walk, kind of a sideways motion. If you don't have a band, that's okay. You could do it without, you just have to focus more on the muscle. Why don't you go to the end of your mat, and we're gonna stand on our lovely bands. Now, if your band is fairly loose, you could stand feet together and then walk out a little bit, step out in parallel. We're gonna choke up on this, so I'm gonna bend my knees a bit, walk my hands down, and then stand back up. So depending on the type band you have. So make sure your feet are parallel. You're gonna stand on your outside foot. Maybe this is too tight now, actually. I made it too tight. Stand on your outside foot. You're gonna wedge your free floating foot out into your mat to step down onto the mat. And then the other foot will take a little step to catch up. So it's a push out, land, little step. So we're just gonna take a little shuffle walk down with straight legs. Core stays strong. And when I say core stays strong, it just means we're not buckling the back or the rib cage. It is fine. So how many steps do we have on this mat? I don't know. Maybe 8? I'm almost there. And when you get to the end, we're gonna reverse. So push out, land heel to toe. So it's like a real walking, except for walking like crabs, but heel to toe, not ball to foot to heel. So it's heel to toe, and then the other one catches up. So it's driving out with the inside leg, and the other leg doesn't really have to do much. It's just following along, although it is stabilizing, which is probably more work too. And when you get to the very, very beginning, hang out there. We're gonna do a roll down. So just soften your knees, roll down. You're gonna choke up on your band probably a little bit more if you want, just not to the point of breakage, of course. Now we're gonna roll up with a little bit of resistance. And then we're gonna roll down. So just do a couple more of those. Inhale, you're gonna roll up. So your hamstrings have to work a little bit more than if we didn't have the band. Roll down partway, and then last one, roll up. And then loosen the, maybe bend the knees just a wee bit, just to carefully take one foot out of your band. Just wondering, I think everybody can see me there. I can see myself. And we're gonna stand on, so let's say the band is under, your right foot. Have the band under your right foot. You're gonna choke up on it a little bit, not too much. And we're gonna stand on the straight left leg and just bend your right knee up. Now the elbows will turn sideways. We want the elbows sticking out to the side. They're tucked in front of the ribs. You have 2 strong fists, shoulder blades low. And we're gonna drive our foot, right foot, like I said, is down, so your heel will touch the floor a little bit in front of your other heel. Not so much that you're leaning backwards, you're just straight up like a canister. And then you just bend your knee. So your bicep, you're in a bicep curl that doesn't change, it's consistent. It's just the leg that goes up and down. So exhale, you press down, feel like you're going taller. Inhale up, squeeze the heel down with the flexed foot, and back. Keep going. I'm just gonna change, I realize my monitor's not quite in a perfect position here. There's no perfection. Last one, up, drive the heel down, whoop, and then we're gonna lower that down. Now, before we switch legs, well, let's switch legs. Step your left foot into your band. So this leg, right leg will stay straight. Get enough chokage on your band that you need. Hold this up to get the first position. If it's too tight, you'll break your band, so consider these things. So exhale, you drive your heel down, you keep a nice wide chest. We want to avoid slumping the upper back. Inhale, we pull the knee up. So your hip flexor works on the way up, and the hamstring and a little bit of your glute works on the way down. So hip flexion, kind of hip extension. Inhale, push down. When you push down, almost feel like your abdominals are falling back towards your spine. It's almost like your head is floating up to the ceiling. So in a way, you could say you're kind of getting taller, but it's not because we're trying to get taller. because the muscles are doing what they should be. So last one, tap, fold it up, and then put that one down. Go back to the original foot. I'm going to change this a little bit. So put your right foot in the center of your band, or the ball of your foot, excuse me, in the center of the band. Step your left foot back a bit. We're going to do bent over rows. So you're going to choke up, palms facing in, collarbones wide. Try not to hunch the upper back like this. You might have to wag, did I say the left foot? I can't remember now. I've got my left foot in here. You may have your right foot. Whatever foot you have, wag your hips away in the opposite direction. And we're going to pull our elbows back to the ceiling, up and back. And then as we punch down, again, try not to slump. So we pull, fairly obvious. Let's go for 8, 7. I'm going to choke up a little more because my band's a little light. 5. Yeah, you're leaning forward. So you're inclining your torso forward. You're not up like this. Last one, pushing like you're crushing something under that front foot. Now just keep your one elbow pulled up as the other punches down and switch. So we'll do this fairly quickly for 8, 7, and you'll feel a little bit of instability. So we're trying to keep the forefoot nice and firm on that band. 3, and you're probably feeling some leg work by this time. 2, 1, and then let's come on up, switch feet. Other foot in the band, make sure it's pretty much in the middle. Okay, step your free foot out or back. So you're on the ball of your back foot. You want to incline forward, so you're almost horizontal to the floor. Set your core so you're not arching or over flexing. And let's do our 8 pulls. So double rows, pulling back, nudging your elbows. And each time you pull your elbows back, and this is not a heavy band, right? So I'm sure nobody has super heavy bands, but heavy enough if you focus on what you're doing. So really squeeze your shoulder blades. Let the head of your shoulder sort of open away from the floor. Let's go into singles. So 1 up, 1 down. So 8, 7, and just feel how your foot wants to fall off the floor and keep pushing it or pressing it down firmly into the band. 3, 2, 1, and both arms down. Let's hinge up. We'll get out of this situation. Take the foot off. All right. So before we lie down, just put that aside, separate your feet. Just do a few nice hip circles. Open those hips a bit. Move your hips in a big circle as if we had a hula hoop. And reverse. All right, now we're going to step back to center. Let's take a seat. Before we lie down, I have another set of rows for you. So grab your band yet again. Sit probably more at the front of your mat because we will eventually be rolling down as an exercise. So you can put the band over the ball of each foot. Again, you want to be fairly centered with it, otherwise it'll be awkward in the way. Okay, so just let the shoulders hang. Again, we want to avoid the hunchback look. We also want to avoid overextension. So just find that nice, effortless way to sit and your toes are up, right? Okay, so let's start with rowing again. So left elbow is going to pull back and then the right elbow. Now you might notice one foot starts to lose the band. So you can't maybe 100%. If I overly straighten this arm, I lose my band. So you just have to be sort of a little bit careful with that side, but the other side can really pull as the other side reaches. So we'll go for 8, and then we're gonna add a twist. So I've totally forgot my twist here. 8, 7, let's twist. Whole point of the exercise, and I forgot to do it. Yes, so you're rotating around the central axis of your spine. Your head's just coming along. Shouldn't be uncomfortable in any way. It's just a nice movement through your core, getting your waist working. And then center that. Now what we're gonna do is roll back into a half roll down, just a little bit. I'm going to drag my heels in just a little more. We're going to pull the left elbow, punch to the right, and rotate here to the left, and switch, and switch. So there's one pulls, one reaches. We're obviously going to look back at the head turns towards the bent elbow. Good. Now keep going. Maybe we're going to, well, not maybe, but now we're going to make it a little interesting. We're going to roll down a little further, and then we're going to roll up. You can speed your twist up. Maybe it's not as big, but you still get the idea. So we're just doing these little, maybe 3/4 twists, half twist. Down we go, as smooth as we can without bumping our elbows into the floor, and then we roll up, adding those little twists. Let's do 2 more rounds of those. So you'll be so distracted by the, by the rotation, you may not notice you're doing a roll up. Last one, what are we going to do? And then we're going to finish rolling all the way up. Let's take the left foot out of that band. Stretch both legs long. We only have the right foot covered now. And you're just gonna roll down through the mat. You can lift your arms and raise this leg up in the air, the right leg. Now, once you've arrived at the ground, just make yourself comfortable. You have two options here. And some of you, I don't know the band that you all have, so you may have to do this with your arm. You may have to, we'll figure it out as we go. But if you're using the band and this works for you, we'll have the ball of that right foot up in the air with the band over it. You might have to bend your right knee a little bit for comfort, but if you can have it straight, go for it. The left leg could be bent here or straight. So pick the one that works best. Make two fists holding firmly on your band. We're just going to pull the fists down to the floor. Yeah, assuming your band is long enough for that. And then inhale, you raise your arms a little bit up. So we're going to do 5 lat pull downs. So you just pull your fists down toward the floor into a T position. And it doesn't have to be an exact T. You might want your arms a tiny bit lower than the T shape, because the T shape might cause shoulder tension. So we're going to be a few degrees lower than out to the side. So we'll do 2, 1. Now keep the fists on the floor. And if this isn't working, you can simply do this without any band at all. We're going to do a 1-leg circle of sorts. Now it's a 1-leg circle with resistance today. So push your right leg a little to the right. Won't be going very far. Down a little, over to the left with a steady pelvis and back. So it's exhale and inhale across. So it's a very small circle, about the size of a basketball. Your shoulder blades are nice and low. They're working to keep you stable. Shoulder blades and shoulders. Let's go the other direction with this leg. So we go in, down and around, nice wide collarbones and chest. We're just looking up at the ceiling above us, keeping the fist grounded to the floor. Last 2. And last 1. Good. Now bring the arms up, give them a shake out. Take the band off. Actually, before you take the band off, let's just do one more thing. Roll up with that. Let's switch feet while we're up. That might be nice. That way you have a chance to do one more roll down. Put the band in your left foot and then swing the left leg up, just to get a little fancy with your choreography. Okay, so we'll do 5 pull downs with this side. So your arms are straight. You've got 2 strong fists. The arms are not by your ears. They're a little bit lower than that for comfort. And we pull, and then you float the arms up. Exhale and up. So just do, I said 5, we did more like 10 on the other side. So let's do about that on this side. 4 and 3. Just get a little bit of tone in the sort of the armpit area, which is the push-up muscle. But we're pulling, not pushing. Okay, final one. If this is working for you, keep the fist down. If it isn't working, you can do your regular leg circle holding your band. So it's a little less intense in the arms, but it's still a good exercise. So here we go. We'll open the left leg to the left, circle it down. And you're using the resistance of the band to find extra stability today. So sometimes we use the band to make our lives easier. Today we're using the band to make our life harder in a good way. Last 2, pushing down into your mat. Reverse, around for 5 and 4. Keep the heel reaching up in the air. 3, 2, my arms are working hard here. And 1, release, bring the arms up. Take the band off, put that leg down. Now you're gonna just bend your knees one at a time so your feet are flat. Have your arms out to the side, still in that T position. And we're going to turn both palms up to the ceiling now and bring inner thighs together and your inner ankles together. We're gonna do a twist. So very lightly press the backs of your arm bones into the floor, super light. If you overdo it, your ribs will lift up, which we don't want. Just a tiny bit of downward pressure. Squeeze your knees like magnets, and we'll just tip both knees to your right, about halfway or 3/4. Try not to touch the floor because that would be resting. And then we turn the head to the left. So it's a stretch of sorts, but there's still some tone in the system. And then exhale, we rock back. Knees left, head right. Feet are stacked. So my right foot is now not on the floor, but my left is. And back. So just do that simple movement 4 more times. Inhale for the twist. Exhale to pull back. Inhale for the twist. Last 2. Good. When you're all done, pause. You're going to pull one knee to tabletop, second knee to tabletop. Now, let's bring the inner thighs together here, inner ankles together. And just for fun, we're going to bring the arms into a cactus position. So this may or may not work for you. If it works, great. If it doesn't, just continue with the T shape. So cactus just means you bend your elbows. So now you're in 2 L shapes on either side. So we continue with the twist series. Now you won't be able to go as far. Inhale, exhale back. So your knees go one way, your head rotates the other. And because your arms are in the cactus, it prevents you from going maybe as far as you could if your arms were in the T shape. But you're still allowed to use your arms. That would be silly if we weren't, because our arms are part of our core too. So just go for 4. If this doesn't feel good, just do it with your feet on the mat, or you can just lower your shins and do a more casual version of this. That's fine too. So 1 more to the left, and then we center back to the middle, put 1 foot down, 2nd foot down. From here, just take your cactus arms and just bend the elbows more. So now your hands will hold the back of your head. So just lift your head for a second and then settle your head into your hands. Getting ready for ab curls. So lift your elbows a tiny bit in the air. Open your shoulder blades. So reach out as if your elbows are hugging a giant, giant beach ball. Breathe in, look down. Exhale, let's curl the head and shoulders up and over, peering down through our inner thighs. Inhale there, and then we roll back. Just try 4 of those to get you started this morning. So curl, inhale, we go back. Exhale to curl, blowing the air out. It's not so important how, well, I was gonna say, it doesn't matter how high. Well, there is a certain, we do want to get off the shoulder blades. Let's say that's a good place to aim for. Just right off the bottom tip of the shoulder blade, base of the breastbone. So we're definitely curling, but we're not crunching all the way up. So 1 more, we're gonna stay up with this one. Now you're gonna pull your right knee to tabletop here, maybe a little closer than tabletop. Your left leg is going to come off the floor and reach out on maybe 30 degrees off the floor, or lower if you want to work a little harder. And we're going to rotate left elbow across to the right knee and put your right elbow as far back on that mat as you can to the right corner. And then inhale to center, both knees come in, reach the right leg out, rotate, get your left elbow on the floor and rotate to the left. Inhale, center, exhale, turn. Let's go for 8, 7. Now if this is feeling horrible, you can do legs more to the ceiling like this, or you can always put your feet on the floor. That's no problem. I'm sure everyone is fine though. And let's go for 4. The emphasis here is keep the pelvis steady, get the rotation in your upper oblique. Finish to your left, so think about that. Come back to center, back to tabletop, curl up a little higher. And then just if you want to add this, you can reach out, palms down, just do a few pumps. Inhaling, just do 2 and exhaling. 1 more set, inhale, hold your head if this is feeling nasty. Exhale, and then let's rest. 1 foot, 2nd foot, you made it, rest your head. Let your head gently rock side to side. All right, let's get to our bridge series. You could use your yoga block or anything you can shove between your knees as a spacer. Cushions will do, but if you have a block, it's kind of a nice option. And once you have that settled there, or something settled between the inner leg, heels roughly under the knees or a little further is fine. Take a breath. And we're just going to do a hip lift today. So if you just pick everything up together, pelvis and ribs, and we're going to take the arms and just let palms up, because palms up is what I should say, and just very lightly, a little engagement into the mat. Again, not overdoing it so we're popping the ribs, just to get a little bit of full body action, activity, and then we just hinge down. So just try about 5 of those fairly quickly. Exhale up, hugging your block, your cushion, inhale down, squeezing up, hinging down. So it's just a good exercise to figure out where the hips joints are. So we're creasing into the hips. We're connecting our arms. We're not forgetting about them. Sometimes we're so focused on what the legs or abs are doing, we forget we have arms. So here we're just very lightly engaging the floor with them. 2 more of those. And up. Now lower the hips. Take the block out. I'm going to change the arm position to what I call robot arms. So you're going to bring your elbows close to your body. And you're going to point your fingers up. So basically your palms are facing each other. Your thumbs are pointing to your back wall. So again, you're allowed to use your arms a tiny bit. So if you just, especially if we tend to roll the shoulders forward from computer work, in this position, just allow the shoulders just sort of open out and back a little bit. You don't have to squeeze your shoulder blades, and you certainly don't want to pop the ribs. So inhale, and then we're going to do the lift again. So this time we're going to do pelvic rotation, so pelvic tilt. So pull your pubic bone to your chest first, and then heel the rest of your spine up, going up to maybe somewhere on your shoulder blade area. Maybe lower shoulder blade to mid shoulder blades, maybe high if you've got the hip extension for it. Once you're there, just a little downward pressure through your elbow points, and you're not just the elbows, but the arms themselves. Take a breath in, and we're going to put all the weight into the left foot slowly. We're going to pick up our right knee. As the right knee comes up, we're going to reach left arm up, the right elbow still pressing a little bit into the floor. Put your right foot and your left elbow down carefully without disturbing your alignment. Left knee folds, right arm reaches, pull back. So just keep going. So it's a reach and a pull with the other opposite arm. Reach and back and reach. There's always one elbow on the floor and you're reaching with the opposite knee. Let's go for 4. Think about this one as I do. 3, cross crawl pattern. 2. Now the final one, whatever leg you have up, for me it's my left knee and my right arm. We're going to go into a single leg stretch option so you can flex your left foot. If your back's starting to fatigue, I would hunch the back a little bit, sort of round your ribs a bit. And we're going to, or just rest, but push out through the left heel so your legs are side by side, right arm goes back, drag back in, like you're chopping something with your arm. So push out, not losing your height, inhale back. 3 more, out and in. Arm goes back, leg goes forward. Last 2, good. 1, good. Bring your right elbow down, bring your left foot down. Let's roll the spine down just to give ourselves a little breather. Take a breath in at the bottom. Let's exhale, roll back up, articulating through your spine. Chest a little bit down away from the ceiling. Fold your right knee. Is that right? Yeah, right knee towards you. Left arm up. Flex your right foot. Here we go. So exhale. Right leg presses out. Left arm goes back. Pull back. Exhaling out and in. Once you get the pattern, just keep going with it. Keep the right hip as high as your left. And let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring that back, bring the elbow of the foot down, and finally, let's rest. You can hug your knees into your chest, maybe rock it out a little. And to stretch out after that, we'll just do more of a Pilates exercise. You can stretch your left leg long on the mat. Grab a hold of the back of your right leg somewhere. Can be maybe lower than the knee to start. And just fold your forehead to your knee. I'm going to walk this is called climbing a tree. So you just walk up the leg with your hands. And so you're literally just hanging from your own leg. Right hand can be a little higher, or on top of that is. Reach long through the left leg and float it up and off the air, into the air if you like. We're just going to pull that knee closer to us as the forehead comes closer to the knee. You can always hang on to your head. Let's take one more breath in here. And we're going to swap, switch. Now we're going into a different exercise. And switch. Forgot to climb the tree. We'll climb down the tree. So one more. We're going to finish with the left leg towards us. Rest the right leg, and we'll climb down the left leg to rest our head. And then you can stretch both legs out of your mat. And just let your head gently rock side to side. All right. Bend the knees. Let's roll over to one side. We're going to come up. We'll just do a little bit of, tiny little bit of mermaid. So if you want to sit in the mermaid position, if this does not work for you, sometimes it's a simple matter of popping a cushion. If your knees are pointing to your right, you might try popping a cushion under your right hip. Maybe that will help. If it doesn't, just straighten your legs, no problem, or one leg. Definitely don't want knee issues here. So arms reaching out. We're just going to do a side bend to your open side, your right side, I guess that is. And then we pop up and over to the ankle side. We'll just do 2 more. So inhale, we go over with control. Let's do 1 more. And then we're going to come back to the center and reach both arms out. Shoulder blades relax down. We are going to rotate towards the right, but you're going to pick up your left hip to do that. And then once you've gone as reasonably far as you're going to go there, put your right hand on the floor. I'll show you where I'm heading with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swoop this front arm forwards, squeeze the hips forward and lift up. And then you ease back. See if that works. So you're rotated to your right wall. You're going to sweep your left arm across, squeeze your hips forward. The hand not supporting your body weight, the fingers are turned back a bit to make it more comfortable. So 2 more of those. A nice stretch to this front hip. Last one. Good. And as we come back to center, we'll switch sides, which is a good exercise in itself. Okay, so we'll just do the Little Mermaid first. So you can side bend to your left, coming onto your forearm, and then up and over to your right. And you want to keep the spine nice and long and the elbow. See, I'm not really bending my elbow that much. It's fairly long, because if I bend it, I lose the stretch. So you really want to reach, like think of an elastic band idea. And 1 more to your right. Long arm. Good. We come back to center, no hands, reach out. We're going to add that twist to your left. Oops, say my plant. Put your left hand on the floor once you've rotated. Squeeze your right glute here. And then you're going to squeeze that hip forward. You can reach the arm up by the ear. It looks fairly dramatic. And then you swing back down. I think I did that differently in this side. We'll sweep across the face. Sorry. Squeeze the hips forward and swing back down. So 2 more of those. Great hip opener, among other things. Last one. Good. And when you're all done, running out of time, we're going to swing over, just lie on your stomach. Just finish with a very quick upper back exercise. So you have a nicely balanced workout. So we'll do the Pilates, a swimming style, swimming Pilates. So you can turn out your legs a little bit today. Bring your arms into sort of a propped up sphinx. Well, not propped, but elbows a little lower than your shoulders perhaps. Just a little baby swan, pick up your chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to reach out with your arms, so your face will come lower, and then just pull your arms back like you're swimming in a pool. So exhale, you shoot the arms forward, ribs come down a bit, and then you peel the chest high. You can squeeze your legs a little bit, your glutes, just so you have a little bit of full body activity happening. A couple more. Really get us, and everyone will have a slightly different look to this. It depends on your extension, but you can go higher than me, you can go lower, do what works best for your body. And let's do one more. Forward, we're going to pull into that chest lift. Now keep the chest lift, put your elbows back on the mat. So like 2 L shapes on either side of you. Pull up a little higher. If you want, you can go into full swan, just pressing up. You can adjust your hands if this feels not so nice. Elbows wrap in, look over your right shoulder, lower your left elbow to the floor, and then straighten back up. Look over your left, lower your right elbow, come back up, and then we'll just roll down 1 vertebra at a time. Bring your hands to push-up position, legs back closer together, parallel. And just push back and finish in a child's pose. Just take a few moments to just breathe. Breathing is a stretch. Every breath we take stretches potentially the spine and the lower back in this position, upper back and middle. And when you're ready to come out of this, we'll use it as a good way to stack the vertebrae. So if it's uncomfortable, you can come to high kneeling instead of sitting on chin. So just take a breath preparing. Really make sure you're looking under, not forward. And then as you exhale, draw your belly back and just roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Put your mind in your spine and just stack the vertebrae. So remember, the head will be the very last thing. And the head will come up last, eyes to the horizon, and just maybe look over 1 shoulder. You can always sit cross-legged if this is uncomfortable, or stay kneeling 1 way, other way, and then find center. All right, so good work. Thanks for coming.